Hello everyone and welcome back to Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. This is now episode 20 and in this episode we are going to finally return to the story. I know a few of you are probably glad that we've stopped doing the side shows with the Great Marsh and the Grand Underground. So anyway, in this episode, we're going to chase down the Galactic Grunt and then we're going to look at Route 212 and then we're going to head towards Route 210. But first up, in the last episode, we went around the Grand Underground, caught a few Pokemon for our team, such as an Elekid, which we then evolved into Electabuzz. Just to hear, we have quite a few new Pokemon for our team that, I really hope you enjoy the look of. I think this is going to be the majority of our final team, bar one Pokemon, which I'm sure the most of you who have played the Sinnoh region before can guess what the final Pokemon's going to be. It's literally the strongest Pokemon available in Sinnoh, bar legendaries. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the team we've got together now. And I think we're ready to proceed on with the story. Our team's a little bit weaker now than it was prior to this. However, we have been dominating so much that having a team that's a little bit weaker couldn't hurt in the short term. And in long term, I think once everything's evolved, it'll end up being much, much stronger. So you can see what we're looking to try and do. We've got Electabuzz at the minute, obviously evolved from an Elekid, which we will eventually turn into an Electivire. We also have Togepi, which we will evolve into Togetic once it has the required happiness, and then we'll obviously go further and go to Togekiss, which will have the fairy and flying types that we need. We have Skorupi. He will eventually become Drapion, so he will have the poison typing that we require to cover the fairies off, and also Dark type, which will cover against Psychic and Ghosts. And then Hippowdon is just covering ground type for now until we get that final Pokemon. So, to proceed on with the story, once you're in Pastoria City, all you have to do is speak to the Grunt again after you've done the gym. And he'll mention a bit more about, hinting at the bomb that he has in his disposal. And he'll continually avoid you and call you a pest. And he'll keep running away from you as he doesn't want to battle you. So he'll keep running and he'll lead you to where he's planning on taking the bomb to. However, before you leave Pastoria City, you will actually have to battle against your rival. So this here is a battle against Rival Aiden. His team won't have changed since your last battle. He still has the same Pokemon and type coverage. So in my case, he still has Starly, he still has Ponyta, still has Roserade, and his Prinplup obviously has not evolved yet into an Empoleon. If you defeated the two gyms, Maylene and Crash Awake, and got both badges, this battle should be an absolute cakewalk. I honestly don't see how he managed to get the fourth gym with this team, as his team is significantly weaker than the gym leaders' teams, but I guess they have plot armor, so easy enough to get through. So Electabuzz here, he, with his electric type, is obviously strong enough and super effective to easily take down Starly and Prinplup, and then we have easy type coverage for both Roserade and Prinplup, so we'll take that down quickly enough. Manaphy here, I do enjoy having in our team. He's a very well-rounded Pokemon. Very strong. Of course, if you're watching these after the distribution period for Manaphy is over, and you're unable to get hold of a Manaphy for yourself, there are several other water types that I can recommend. Floatzel is very strong. If you wanted to remove the ground type, so either the ground type Pokemon I'm going to add to my team later, or remove Hippowdon and make room for another Pokemon, you could add a water ground type, such as Quagsire, and also Gastrodon, both of which are very strong. But if you can get the Manaphy, it's good to use. So anyway, now we've defeated the rival, we can continue on doing the reverse way through Route 213 towards the Valor Lakefront. And as we do go backwards, we'll keep seeing the Team Galactic grunt along our way, and he'll keep talking about how the bomb was made and how they needed the Valor Valley Windworks energy to make it. So that kind of reveals what they were doing at Valley Windworks. He says he's getting tired of running away, and yet he continues to keep running away. So I guess I've got to keep chasing him. Once you find him here by the hotel, he'll do one final run. He won't run very far though. You'll literally be able to see him in the background in a second. If you come just up here, there we go. So you can literally see he hasn't gone far at all. And he mentioned that he's annoyed we're still on his tail, and the lake is just in sight, which gives away where he's trying to take the bomb to. So to stop you from trying to get to the lake, he will battle you. He is, however, very, very weak. He only has one Pokemon, which is a Glameow, which should be no issue for you to take down, as it's weaker than both your rival's Pokemon and the gym leader's Pokemon. So you should be able to deal with it very simply. So he says he's running on fumes, but he has to give it to the commander, and he continues running away, or at least walking away. So if you head up north in the same direction he's gone, you see here that he's gone behind the scientists, most likely, and they're now blocking his way. And you'll see Cynthia here, the lady we met, I believe in Warburg City, was it? And she's come to investigate why the lake is not open to the public. And she says there's an island inside the lake with a mysterious Pokemon inside, and no one must enter the chamber of that Pokemon. But then she very abruptly changes the conversation across to the Psyducks on Route 210 and gives you the medicine to help the Psyducks. So obviously that's where we need to go next, but it's interesting that she just abruptly changes the conversation and sends us that way rather than dealing with the imminent threat here. And obviously our character we don't see talk, but I'm confused why he doesn't tell her about the possible bomb. Maybe he doesn't think Cynthia's important enough, but I'm not sure anyone would actually walk away from this. But Apparently our character has to. So you can go straight to Route 10. If you fly to Silesian Town, you can then just go straight north and see the Psyducks on Route 10. However, there's one route we have not travelled down yet. It's not essential, but we're going to do it anyway. This is Route 212. So it heads between Hearthome City and Pastoria City. If you struggle to beat Crusher Wake or the gym, or you don't think you're level enough for this gym, I would go down Route 212 first before taking on that gym, as there are a few trainers on there that you can face that will help you level up. And there's also opportunity to catch a few grass-type Pokemon that can help you against the water gym. So if you come through Pastoria City, head down to the southwest. I'll quickly stock up again on Pokeballs, as I use most of them in the Grand Underground. But yeah, if we head back down to the southwest, you'll see that near the puddle where we picked up the Hidden Awakening, or it might have been Hidden Full Hill, but yeah, we had a hidden item in the puddle. If we then continue off to the west, we end up in Route 212. Just down here and continue on, and here we are. And you'll notice that this route is raining. So this route is actually split into two sections. This southern area is raining and the northern section is sunny. So the first thing you can go is, if you go down this little southern path, there are 8 berries available over 4 trees, 2 of which are Pinap berry trees and the other 2 are Pecha berry trees. Now you'll notice there is a long narrow beam almost directly above our head currently. What these beams are is they are almost like tightrope walks, but you can only go across them on your bicycle. I'm not sure who thought this up, as obviously doing so in real life would be incredibly dangerous. But anyway, so it's a new way to get across this route. If you want to avoid the grass, you can do so by basically just going around using these little walkways. We're going to use them to access the items and trainers, but then also go through the main body of the route as well to find the items. So you'll see in this northern section of the south side of the route, we find a special attack. There's also a trainer here which we can battle. This trainer is called Scientist Sean, and he uses an Abra and a Kadabra level 19. I realised that there's another thing I didn't detail that happened since the last episode. So we traded with a friend of mine who has Shining Pearl, and you'll see we picked up a pair of Cascoons, one ready to be turned into a Dustox. We also picked up a Misdreavus, and we traded Graveler, so it evolved into a Golem, Haunter, so it evolved into a Gengar, Machoke, so it evolved into a Machamp, and then finally Kadabra, so it evolved into an Alakazam. And then you'll see here just a couple of the Pokemon that I didn't run through at the start that we caught whilst we were in the Grand Underground. Most of which are reasonably strong and wouldn't be the worst options for your team, especially the levels they're at. After you've done the 4th gym, the Pokemon's levels are around level 38, so they're pretty strong. Hence how Hippowdon made it straight into my team, as he was already of level. But anyway, I digress. We'll go back to the route. If we continue along this upper path of the southern section of the route, we can continue using the cut trees, and we'll find a trainer in this top corner. So have a quick scan around to make sure there's no hidden items around here. There's quite a few around the bog. But there's one more trainer here. This is Parasol Lady Sabrina. She uses one Pokemon, which is a level 21 Psyduck. The Pokemon on this route are not much better than the Pokemon on Route 213. So yeah, they're pretty weak, so we're not going to get a huge amount of XP from this. So we're actually going to go back to the beginning and take one of the other paths that you can go down, just to make sure we cover everything off. The other path, however, does require moving through the grass. The grass or like muddy areas. in doing so, we will encounter a few wild Pokemon. So there's a couple of wild Pokemon available on this route. You can most commonly find a Wooper. However, you can also find a Kricketune, a Bibarel, and the evolved form of Budgie, which is Roselia. If you fish in the water, you can also find Magikarp and Barboach. Barboach only when using the Good Rod. The trainer here, stood just within the grass, is Pokemon Ranger Taylor. He uses a Luxio and a Buizel, both level 21, and just south of him is the TM for the move Toxic. Now, if you run around the muddy patches, you can get stuck in the mud, and you have to wiggle your character in order to break out from the mud, which can be incredibly frustrating. However, the one reason you would go in here is A, to maybe avoid the grass patches, or B, because there are a couple of items hidden within the mud. As you'll see, we've already got one popping up here on our dowsing machine, so we'll have a little hunt around for where that is. And instantly we're stuck in the mud. If you move quickly, you seem less likely to get stuck. However, if you move slowly, you get stuck more commonly. So the first item we found here is a Great Ball. If we can break out the mud, we can continue on. Oh. Trying to face off against this trainer here within the mud. There we go. Actually, she's not a trainer, it's just an NPC saying about getting stuck in the mud. Anyway, if we head back up to the path we took earlier, or in the direction of the path we took earlier, there is a honey tree. So we can slather that with honey and perhaps come back and have a look and see what we can find. Just to warn, while we're towards the beginning of the route, Route 212 is one of the bigger routes in the game, so make sure you're stocked up on all the essentials that you need, healing items, etc., as you will be on this route for a very long time, as the gap between Pistoia City and Hearthome is rather large. So there's a few items I think we left behind in the bog, but I'm not too bothered about that. Continuing on, we'll find here, just past this train tip sign, there is a small house. But first up, we have this trainer here, who is Parasol Lady Alexa. She uses a Goldeen level 19 and a Buizel level 19. So in this house, if you go in here, the person in here will, on the left-hand side, will trade shards for TMs. So the shards you can find when you're digging around in the Grand Underground, when you're digging in the walls. If you get 10 shards of the same colour, you can come and speak to her and she will give you a TM in exchange for those shards. Heading onto the bridge, you'll see there's 3 fishermen stood waiting. If you speak to them, you can battle all 3 of them, or cut all of that out if they don't use anything interesting. Fisherman Travis uses 3 Barboach and a Shellos. Fisherman Cameron uses a Goldeen and a Barboach, and Fisherman Juan uses a Gyarados. Shortly after this, on the western path of the bridge, we also battle against Collector Dominique, who uses 3 Geodudes between levels 17 and 19. Just north of him, if you head there, if you go up and then head to the east along one of the little cycle paths, you can find the TM for TM62, which is the move Bug Buzz. You can't actually access the western route from there, as there's 2 trees blocking your way, so you're not able to access from that direction. So the way to continue going for now is to continue heading around this western path, where you will find policemen. The policemen NPCs are interesting, as they only battle you if your game is at night. In this case it is, so we will go through all the battles with those. That battle was with Policeman Danny, who used a Hoot Hoot and a Machop, both level 20. To the west of him and through the grass, you see there is a double battle to be had. And if we go through that, we will find Pokemon Ranger Jeffrey and Pokemon Range Allison. They use a few slightly different things in their team, which we have seen before by virtue of our rival. But if you didn't pick Chimchar as your starter, you may not have seen Prinplup before. So this would be the place to add it to your Pokedex. So Pokemon Ranger Jeffrey uses 2 Prinplups, both level 21. Allison uses an Apom level 21 and a Marill level 21. Apom, of course, can be caught in the Grand Underground or by encountering it in the honey trees where it has a rare chance of spawn. Marill can be caught in the Grand Marsh. So, just north of that double battle, you can head up here, which will take you to the northern part of the route, so the clear part without the rain. However, there is another path that I've yet to explore. First up, if you go to the southern bit where the grass is, there is this trainer here. He is Scientist Stefano, and he uses a Kadabra, level 21. Just south of him is an Antidote. And then if we head back round this way, you'll see there's a couple of items we haven't explored getting to as of yet. Those items are by the hilltop we are on, where the 2 trees blocked us getting through. There is an alternate way for us to get there. So you'll see we haven't yet explored this path west of here. To get there, we have to go back down south here, back onto the bridge, and go through the northern exit of the bridge. Using HM for cut, we can then proceed up these stairs and you see get to the other side of the trees. Then we can bike across here and access this little entrance here. However, we are still unable to get that item there on that bank. The reason for this is that we do not have the hidden machine for surf. So for now we're going to head back and then we're going to go down south here. And then we'll head across where we saw there was a hidden item on this hill over here. The movement with the bike is really kind of sensitive and a bit janky on the joystick, so apologies for that. But yeah, the item up on this hill is a tiny mushroom. So you can just pick that up and then we can head back towards the northern route and enter the northern part where the weather is clear. So here we are, back on the northern section. If you come up just behind this sign, you'll see there is an elixir hidden just behind. And there's a few patches of grass. So on the southern part of the route, I said which Pokemon you can find. On the northern, it changes slightly. You can find Roselia, Starly, Budew, Staravia, and Kricketune. In the water, you can find Magikarp and Goldeen. So all Pokemon that we've already caught. Heading over to the west side, you'll see there's a tree for us to cut. If we cut through, we can find the TM for Sunny Day. Sunny Day, for those who are unaware, makes the weather sunny during the battle, so powers up fire-type moves. Also has secondary effect of making moves like Solar Beam not have to charge, as obviously with Sunny Day you've already got the sun there. Anyway, speaking to this guy here, he speaks of the Pokemon Mansion, which is the area just to the right of us here through the wall. However, first off, we're going to grab these berries. You can find 2 Aspia berries and 2 citrus berries. We get to use our citrus berries you found earlier, actually, but they are very useful to hold if you want to recover 30 HP during a battle. Anyway, there's another policeman running outside this building. If you speak to him and battle him, he uses the standard combination of Hoot Hoot and Machop. And then just up here there is another pair of trainers who, if you run in the middle of them, you can face them off in a double battle. This is Rich Boy Jason and Lady Melissa. They use a Luxio and a Baneri, both level 19. And before you proceed on, in this hedge over to the left, there is an item hidden in there. When I eventually find it. Not sure why it's not showing up here. There we go. So in this hedge, just here. Okay, which hedge is it in? This one. There we go. There's a super potion just within this hedge. Now if you head up to the north, you'll find this building. If you enter it, you'll find that you've entered the Pokemon Mansion. So it says the garden is open and wild Pokemon may appear. So we'll explore that area first and head into the back garden. And there are 2 interesting Pokemon to be found at the back of this garden. The first is the first Pokemon we find here, which is a Pichu, which has a relatively rare-ish encounter chance, around 10%. Unless you're in the morning. If you're in the morning, it's around 30%. You can also find common Pokemon like Roselia and Staravia here. And then once we've caught this Pichu, we'll show you the other rare Pokemon you can find here. But first up, Pichu's Pokedex entry. So Pichu's entry says, the electric sacs on its cheeks are still small. They cannot store much electricity yet. So we're not going to add them to our party, but we'll have a quick hunt around and see if we can find the second rare Pokemon available on this route. When we eventually find a battle. So here we go, this is the second rare wild Pokemon available in the garden. It's the evolved form of Pichu. You can find a Pikachu here. So obviously if you find a Thunderstone, you can then turn Pikachu into Raichu. They both have the same sort of a counter chance, but Pikachu doesn't have the boost in the mornings. He's just a solid 10% all the time. And that's 2 additional entries into our Pokedex. So the entry for Pikachu is, it lives in forests with others. It stores electricity in the electric sacs on its cheeks. So evidently they get a lot bigger when it evolves from Pichu to Pikachu. Anyway, as I said, as we don't want Roselia, Staravia or Kricketune, speaking of which, as we don't want any of those as we already have them caught, we can now head back into the Pokemon Mansion where there's a few other things that you can do. So if you head over to the east side here, you'll find that this is the room of this gentleman just here. If we speak to him, we find his name is Mr. Backlot, and he's very proud of his rare Pokemon garden. And then round the back, he says about his rare statue, which is this here, which we're not able to get to because there's a police officer guarding the way. The statue is rather silly actually, as you can approach it if you come on the time when the police officer's on his break, which is between I think 1 and 6 AM. But it's really not worth staying up for, it's just a small Easter egg. And it doesn't actually do anything, it just allows you to touch it and nothing else happens. There is also the TM for TM87, which is Swagger. Heading over to the west side of the house, if you come into this trash can, you'll find a burn heal in the second western room. If you speak to the maid in there, she'll give you this very, very useful item, which is the Soothe Bell. So the Soothe Bell increases the friendliness of your Pokemon whilst you travel with it. In our case, it's extremely helpful, as we're going to immediately put it on Togepi, as it, fast increasing his happiness will increase, or decrease rather, the amount of time it takes to get Togetic. And then the final room, if you come in here, you can grab this item sitting on the floor, which is the Great Ball. Now it might seem like there's not a huge amount to do in the Pokemon Mansion at the minute, but the real potential of the Pokemon Mansion isn't revealed until you complete your Sinnoh Pokedex and get the National Dex. What will happen is, you can come in and you can speak to Mr. Backlot and he'll tell you a story. And the last 2 Pokemon featured in that story will that day then be available within the backlot or within the grass out back. And this could be any of a number of Pokemon. So it could be a Clefairy, a Jigglypuff, a Meowth, a Chansey, Eevee, a Porygon, Cleffa, Igglybuff, Marill, Azurill, Plusle, Minun, Castform, Bonsly, Mime Jr. or Happiny. So a lot of baby Pokemon and very rare Pokemon are now available in that garden once you've unlocked the National Dex. Just outside the mansion, down to this corner, there is a Great Ball, and the lady trainer just above, just to the west of the mansion, is Socialite Raina, who uses a Rose Raid. However, Gentleman Jeremy, who you can fight them both in double battle, so would be our partner. In my case here, I've decided to do them in single battle form. We'll have a Chatot, which is a Pokemon we have not yet seen. Now, unfortunately, in this game, Chatot does not have the fun gimmick that made it popular in the original Diamond, Pearl, Platinum series. So when the DS games came out, you could record yourself speaking in the microphone, and when you used the move Chatter, it would then replay you speaking back to you as the move. However, as the Nintendo Switch does not have a microphone, they have unfortunately had to remove this, which is quite annoying actually, as it removes one of the more fun and interactive parts of the game. So the only reason you'd ever really want to catch a Chatot now would be just to capture everything in the Pokédex. Another reason for them removing this may be because people would use it in online battles and would likely record profanities, which obviously would be unpleasant for the person they were battling against. Anyway, back to the route. If we continue up north, there are 3 policemen, all who will battle you if you're in night or morning time. We're going to skip through all of them as they all use the same or similar combinations of Hoot Hoot and either Meditite or Machop. And then just north of them, the last thing you can find is just this honey tree here. So we'll slather the bark with honey and then continue on. And that is the last of Route 212. As I said, it's a rather large route, so that can take a while to get through. So now back in Hearthome City, I will quickly heal up the team and then we'll proceed on towards Route 210, ready for the next episode. Now we're healed up, we can just fly straight on over to Salacian Town and head up to where the Psyduck were. If you don't remember where that is, just follow the path I take. Now first off, we're going to check how Cranidos is doing along with Drifloon. I'm not sure I'm going to check which levels they are, but yeah, they seem to be doing okay. So yeah, if you follow the route that I take here, so you just have to get your bike out and go up this ledge here. Let me quickly find the right gear. I need to be in the 4th gear. There we go. Continue head up north here, you can avoid all the grass and you'll find the Psyducks are still here blocking the route. So if you speak to them again, you'll now get the option to give them the secret medicine, which we didn't have the first time we saw them. And when you do so, they will clear out the way. And then Cynthia will come over and start to speak to you. She obviously has decided it's not worth investigating Team Galactic either. She says that Psyducks are known to suffer from chronic headaches, however no one knows what triggers the headaches. And then she asks us to do us a favour. She says that her grandma lives in the next town, which is Celestic Town, and she asked us to deliver a charm across to her, which of course we will do. And she gives us the old charm key item. So we then have to go through Route 210 in order to get to Celestic Town. However, we are going to do that in the next episode. If you've enjoyed what you saw in this episode, please drop a like. It really helps to get more coverage and more recommendations on people's YouTube channels. And also subscribe to see more of this series in the future. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day and I'll catch you in the next one.